everyone. How are you doing today? It's great. It's very nice to have you here. Thanks for coming. My name is Juan. I'm a teacher at the Cultura Inglesa Santana. And what you're about to see is actually a workshop that is the result of some of the studies that I carried out in some of the groups that I had at the branch where I work. Even though the title says social psychology applied to our lessons, I am not a psychologist. I'm a psychology enthusiast. I study psychology, but like informally and unofficially. And this is the result of some of the things that I ended up finding out and applying to some of the lessons, and that turned out to work really well. Hopefully, by the end of the workshop, either you're going to have learned something new about psychology or about teaching, or you're going to be able to systematize some of the things that you already knew and may be able to apply, with more sort of theory to back you up. But what are we going to do in this workshop? We're going to learn how to build stronger rapport. So that connection that we have with students. How does that work? What is that connection that we establish? And what happens if we don't establish that sort of connection? How to foster group cohesiveness. So how do we get students to actually feel comfortable working with each other and actually, doing things together in class without being too, mechanized somehow? How to foster collaboration. So how can we get students to work together and to work with us? We're going to be discussing some of the ideas and actions that have been taken and that maybe you could apply in your own contexts as well. The process of implementation and why I decided to do the things I did. And the results that we had. By the end of the workshop, hopefully you're going to get some practical ideas that you can take and apply to your own lessons that you teach, okay? By the way, if you have any questions at any moment, please do feel free to interrupt me or raise your hands. This is going to be a very interactive thing. You're going to be talking to each other sometimes, and I'm going to be asking you to think about the things I'm saying and how you would apply them to your own practice, okay? Why social psychology? Why did I decide to talk about that? Well, first, because I'm a psychology enthusiast, and I took a course on social psychology specifically, and I was completely in love with it. I actually think it's the kind of thing that everyone should study. So if you're interested after this talk, please do go and find something out about that. And also because I had the objective of teaching more effective lessons. I was looking for something that would help me sort of systematize the things I did and understand why they happened the way they happened. And social psychology helped me a lot. It also has helped me improve my own social relationships. So even if you don't apply it to teaching or to professional matters, it will help you personally as well. I'm sure of that. That is something I can guarantee. But what is social psychology? I brought here two different definitions for us to look at, and these are the things I based myself on. So Gordon Allport was a psychologist in 1985. He's sort of like the father of social psychology. He says that it's the study of how our thoughts, feelings, and behavior influence our view about ourselves or other people. And he says that social psychology, the interactions that happen between people, don't necessarily have to happen when people are actually present. If you actually imagine a certain presence of a feeling, thoughts, or behavior, he says that it may already affect our decisions and how we feel about things or people or even ourselves. It's sort of like that imagination that you have, and then you do like, maybe that person is, cheating on me, and then you start acting upon it, even though that may not be real. This is what he meant when he said that. And also, I'll be basing myself on David Myers. He's been publishing more recent studies. He says that it's the study of how we view and affect one another, and that social psychology talks about how people think about, influence, and relate to one another. What could social psychology do for me then? As I said, it helped me understand myself quite a lot. It was something that took me down a journey of self-discovery. And I started sort of questioning myself as a teacher, because teaching involves social interaction, a lot of social interaction. We are social beings, and we learn through socializing. And I started thinking, if it helped me understand myself, would it help me understand others? And I don't know, why people do the things they do and why people see things the way they see things. I'm sorry. Based on these reflections that I had, we're going to cover three different aspects of teaching that have been impacted by my knowledge on social psychology, which was limited but has already had a huge impact, which, as I said, would be rapport, group cohesiveness, and collaboration. Just for us to get started, I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them something really interesting about yourselves. It has to be something that people will remember you for. So it can be an ability that you have, it can be a place you have been to, a person you have met, it can be something you did in the past, it can be something that you want to do in the future. It just has to be something that maybe your partner will, I don't know, a month from now, look back on and say like, yeah, once I met this person at Disal and he or she told me that, whatever. So I don't know, if I had to tell you mine, I would say last year in June, I was interviewed by Record, and it was very nice because I was feeling very famous. But the reason why I was interviewed by Record is because of how much I love paçoca. It was a Festa Junina program that they were going to do, and they were looking for people who really liked that kind of food. And because of my love of paçoca, one of my students ended up telling someone at Record that I existed, and they came to my house and interviewed me. You're probably going to remember, like, you know that paçoca guy and psychology stuff? Turn to the person next to you and tell them something interesting. Off you go. Oh, come on. Do you want to sit closer? Maybe you get to see it better. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You're welcome. There will be 10 reais. All right, everyone, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, thanks, girls at the back. Can someone back there, can you share something you have heard? It can't be what you said, it has to be something a person has told you. Any volunteers? Yes.
Our friend here, she has 8 cats.
8 cats! That's the dream! Oh my god, I just love cats. I would have 8 cats. What's your name? Ligia. Okay, and your name is? Luis. Ligia, has Luis told you anything?
He lived in China.
Wow, that's cool. Was it for work? Was it for studying?
Studying and work.
That's cool. How long did you live there for?
2 years, 2.5 years.
It's amazing. And so you speak fluent Chinese, I'm guessing.
Not fluent, but yes, I speak.
Did you eat anything weird?
Yes.
Okay, don't tell me about it. Don't tell me about it. You guys here? Anything you heard? No, paçoca is amazing. Not weird at all. Unido, nitu. Can you share something you have heard?
No, I just listen about him.
Okay.
And he told us about he hates wet feet.
He hates what?
Wet feet.
Wet feet.
Actually, I hate getting my feet.
Oh, like when it rains and then you have to spend the whole day.
I know, when I take showers, no problem.
I wasn't thinking of that, but yeah. It's kind of weird picturing you with plastic bags. Yeah. Like you go to the swimming pool, you use your plastic bags. Very nice. Okay, okay. That's good because don't drop any water on his feet. Okay, cool. That's something that we're going to go back to, and I'll tell you the reason why I did that, okay? But this is something you can try with your own groups as well. It's a very nice icebreaker, by the way, when it's the first day of class. Now I want you to do some thinking. Think of the best teacher you have had. It doesn't have to be an English teacher. It can be any other kind of teacher. But, you know, a person with whom you had this relationship, like someone who was teaching you something. It can be your parents. It has to be someone like sort of a professional who are supposed to mentor you. Think of that. Think of them. Think of why you liked this person so much. Was it something they did? Was it something they said? Did it have anything to do with their, I don't know, attitude towards something? Is there anything that they did that was, wow, remarkable for you? Think of that. Choose one person. With the person next to you again, you're going to share what this person did. If you don't have to share much, just go for, yeah, they treated me like this, they said this, and that's why I like them. This is what made me think that they are the best teacher ever, okay? And just before you start, can we agree on something? Whenever you discuss things and I want to get the attention back, I'm going to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you stands for, shut up, please, shut up, but in a very polite way, okay? Talk to your partners, please.
There were like 200 or 300 students in one class, so nobody would talk to him. But everybody would just shut up and pay attention to what he was saying.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, no, I said thanks. I'm being nice. Can someone here, maybe in the front part, share something you have heard? Who was the best teacher ever?
I told my teacher.
Okay, go ahead.
I told them there was this geography teacher from prep school, like 10 years ago. I still remember everything he said. Geography teacher. And like the other students, they used to call him like a god because he knew everything. Everything you asked him, like what's the population of India, he would tell you, or what they manufacture, so everything. And like his being so knowledgeable was remarkable.
I see. And did he share that knowledge with you guys?
Yes.
Whenever you needed him to, or whenever you asked him to?
Yes.
How did you feel when he did that?
I felt, I don't know, it was prep school, so I don't know, it's just the way he would like explain things and being so organized. And
Did you feel like you could ask him anything? Like he would never...
yeah, I don't think so, because there were like 100 or 200 students in class, so I don't think I could do that. I didn't feel very comfortable.
Oh no, but I mean, for him, like whenever you came with any questions, he wouldn't refuse to help or any... You never felt...
Oh, yeah. I think he wouldn't.
Okay. Any other experiences with teachers? Any similar experiences with teachers? A teacher who's very open and willing to help and willing to teach? Sorry, you can go next.
I have a teacher that often has lunch with students on a local restaurant.
Okay, that's nice. So he actually like mixes with everyone, and he.
Actually, I only got through my third year of high school because he gave me some grades out of nowhere.
I see. and what about you? You wanted to share something?
Okay. My best teacher was my history teacher, and she at the beginning of the class was very funny. She told us a lot of jokes, but at the moment she said, "Let's work." Complete silence.
I see.
And we start working hard. I was afraid of her.
Wow.
Yes, because with all the subjects the whole year, no special day for the test all through the year. But after it was general history, História Geral, and Brazilian history. But then now, after the course and everything, through my life, I know how much of the history I know.
Wow.
Because of
This is amazing.
I never think, even when I studied at University of Literature, it helped me a lot because it's connected.
It's the context, right? Great. What's your name again?
Olivia.
Olivia. You talk about her with so much passion, and I feel like when somebody talks about a teacher like that, with that amount of passion, this is when you know the teacher really touched the person, right? You know when the teacher did a very good job. Sorry, you had something else to say?
No, I was going to say that even studying history, she always asked for a map. We could never explain anything, any battle,
Without a map.
And everything without a map. We should know where it happened, the place. Look at the map, it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here.
She really thought of every detail that you guys may need to actually learn, right? It's funny because whenever you ask people about their best teachers, they may give you similar experiences. A teacher who's very open to teach you, a teacher who's clearly willing to teach, a teacher who pays attention to you, a teacher who, doesn't bother to actually be with you as a person, not only in the classroom. And these are actually the kind of things that we need as human beings, if you think about that. And I'll base myself on social psychology a little bit here. What do we want as human beings? Basically, social psychology, we say that we want to be valued, we want to be acknowledged and validated. We want to be perceived as worthy of attention, worthy of care, even worthy of people's time. We want to be in an environment of trust, so you can actually believe that person will do you no harm, or believe that person actually wants you to thrive, to flourish. And we want to feel safe. And I'm pretty sure that many of these things here may be the kind of things that you guys felt or you guys had when you were with that teacher. And I have to say, I'm not bragging, I swear, but I've always been a teacher that people liked. And they tell me like, oh, will you be my teacher again next semester? And, oh, that's so nice that you're my teacher again. Oh, I had so much fun with you this semester. And I started thinking, maybe... And it was a moment of crisis, guys. Because I started thinking, am I good? Do I do the right things? Or is it because of something like I'm a personality teacher? I'm just a teacher who's a nice person, but who doesn't actually have any, theory to back me up and stuff. I was glad that social psychology sort of helped me understand the kind of things I did, why they worked and why some of them didn't work. And it has helped me improve a lot in that sense. These things here, all of these aspects that we want, they translate to the classroom into rapport. But how do we build rapport? I mean, what are the things that we do? Is it possible to systematize things like, oh yeah, you have to go there and be liked? How do you do that? And liking is so subjective. Basically, there are three things that you need to take into account. Again, base myself on social psychology. We need to worry about proximity, interaction, and familiarity. We're going to explore some of these things here, and then we're going to go back to these and see how maybe they relate to each other. First one is proximity. There is a study by a university in Leipzig, and they say that proximity kindles liking. And David Meyer, the social psychologist I was telling you about, he says that no proximity may trigger ostracizing. And when I say proximity, there are two different types of them. The first one is physical proximity, so actually living in the same neighborhood, being part of the same community, studying in the same school, this kind of proximity, like the person you see every day. And then there's another type that is a little bit more abstract, like people who share the same ideas. You're part of the same social class, you have the same political views, you like the same kind of activity. The closer you are to that person in that sense, according to some theory, the more likely you are to like that person, or to actually at least enjoy the presence of that person. But how can we do things, how can we get our students to actually be closer to each other? We can't just say, yeah, move and then start living in the same neighborhood. Or we can't just say, yeah, you should all have the same political views, and then you're going to be friends. This just doesn't work like that. So what can we do? Well, some practical ideas are we can promote some activities that will help with proximity. We're going to get there with some more ideas. Let's say then that we did get them to see that they have something that they share, they have something in common with each other. How do you make it last? Because, okay, you told me on a Friday evening or a Friday afternoon that you enjoy playing tennis, and so do I. Will I remember that for the rest of the term? Or in every lesson do I have to talk about playing tennis? That doesn't really work like that, does it? So the next step would be interaction. Interaction is actually what helps rapport to last, basically. If there is no interaction, rapport is very much likely to fade away. Do you ever think about those best friends you had at school, and that after school you just didn't talk to them anymore, and you're still friends because you kind of like being with that person, but it's just not the same friendship? Or that colleague at work, you used to work together, then you changed companies, and you used to be super partners, and now you kind of see each other every 6 months, maybe every year. Do you all have that person in your life? Interaction is what keeps us going as social beings that work together. So we also need to ensure that the interaction that happens in the classroom is actually something that helps build that rapport and maintain that rapport. And I'm not talking about comparing answers, like, okay, so you've done reading exercise, now you discuss your answers with a different partner. That doesn't actually work like that. We're talking about genuine interaction. Things such as actually sharing your personal views on something, or sharing how you feel about something, and then asking the person, do you feel the same as an individual, not as a student only? And I kind of feel that sometimes we sort of disregard that. So I have to go through this listening activity, and then I have to teach you the past simple. So let's learn. You know that? So maybe we should stop and think about the kind of things that we're doing that will actually help us make them learn later on. So we need to foster some moments for them to interact genuinely. But what are some of the practical ideas? Let's get down to business. First of all, acknowledging students' effort may help. Feeling validated, remember that? So actually telling them, even though they made a mistake, wow, that's very nice of you for trying. Or, can you go and tell your partners something that they did today that you found very nice? So maybe you heard a comment that they made and they reminded you of a certain preposition that you should have used. Go and acknowledge that. Encourage students to acknowledge each other's efforts. Find ways to show students that you care about them. So, for example, you know that there's that student who's left-handed and all of the chairs are right-handed. Tell him one day, oh look, I brought you a left-handed chair. And watch them marvel at that. Because they'll be like, wow, you really? and telling them, like, I know you're going to feel uncomfortable because I'm right-handed and I feel very uncomfortable writing in a left-handed chair. So think about that and the kind of things you can do to actually show, like, look, I want you to have the best experience ever as a professional. Promote interaction that will build group identity. So yes, we do have to talk about things we have in common, things that we'll do together, things you would do together on the weekend if you, I don't know, went out someday. Find ways to show students that they're valued within the group and that they are part of it. We are all social beings. We want to be part of a social unit. Show them that they can and should participate actively. So a student made a mistake, or there's that student who is always answering all the questions all the time. It's okay to acknowledge them and say like, it's really nice. What about that one student who's too quiet? Ask them to participate explicitly, like, Fulano, can you please share your opinion? Because I really want to hear it. If you feel that they're not confident enough to share their own views, or that they're not, I don't know, prepared to do that because they really haven't thought about something, do the things I did right now. So talk to your partners. Can you tell me something you have heard? You get away with it, you know, because I'm telling you what I heard. So it isn't wrong. It's what I heard. And also, I didn't have to do much thinking because they told me, so I'm just repeating it, but still I'm participating. And validate students' opinions and contributions. Whenever they do contribute to the lesson in whichever way, make sure you tell them, look, it's really nice that you did that. And when I say this, it may be even the case that a student came to class. You know when students come and they're a little bit late, and then we sort of tell them, hey, the class started 15 minutes ago. Maybe instead of that, we could just say, it's really nice that you came even though you were late. Because we do give up going to class when we're late sometimes. Like, I'm going to arrive and I'll have only 30 minutes of lesson, so I'm not going. So if they come for the 30 minutes of lesson, validate that. It's so nice of you to come. It's raining, you got here late, your feet are wet, but you're here anyway. Thanks for coming, you know? The next one is familiarity. Basically, we need to transform what is unknown